Yeah, g'day. That's what I've been waiting for. It's my Gene Calf coffee bean roaster. So let's go inside and take it out of the box, eh? Yeah, I used to roast coffee beans years ago because I used to do home brew. Well, I kind of still do, but I've got a bit of a stockpile out there and I don't kind of drink very much these days. I still enjoy a beer every now and then, of course. And then I progressed into roasting my own coffee beans. And then I told a chap at work, John from work, and he's a bit of a coffee connoisseur, and he's been doing it ever since, you know. And I said to him the other day, I wouldn't mind getting back into it. He said, well, I've been doing it ever since you told me, John. And he said, the amount of money I've saved, and I'm really, really pleased. And I thought, yeah, I should start doing that, because I've got Katie living with me now, and she's a coffee addict. And we're going through the coffee left, right and centre. So I thought, well, I might as well start roasting my own beans again, you know. So here we go. So this is the Gene Calf coffee roaster machine, if I can get it out of the box. Anyway, I got the beans from the coffee, I think it's called the Coffee Workshop, I think it is. Coffee Works down Essex Street. And tell you what, you've got to go there. It's a classic place. I've got all the old album covers around the walls. And anyway, they make all the blends of beans up, and my friend from work, John, he used the J blend. So I just went and got the J blend, and it worked out half price. So in a year's time you pay for your roasting machine. Anyway, the J blend is 50% Colombian. What have I got here? And is 30% Kenyan and 20% Yukashov. I think the Ethiopian called it Yukashov or Yukashev beans. So anyway, I haven't even tried it, but I think that's the standard stock one that they use in the shop. So anyway, so here is the machine in all its glory. But here's some footage of the shop. So you've got to see this, you know, it's a classic. They got all it's like going back in time, you know, all the album covers that we used to had when we were young, you know. And then it's got another really good thing going for the shop. Right on the counter, they got those big, fat, chewy snakes, a big jar of them, and they are the real good ones. So that's all right. So here's the footage of the shop, okay, right now.
Union says that health workers are expected to take pay freeze while inflation goes up. Teachers between and
it looks like this from a scientific point of view. I would say this. I know that I've reached new words, but I knew what's we have this chemical connection. There's a very well-known documentary. Why I asked
So I roasted the rice. I'm just going to go home and make a video of me. Well, here's a machine in all its glory. Now roast 250 grams at a time. The beans in there. Got a timer. I'm out of action. I used to do this all the time. This is the first one I've done for a while. Oh yeah, it's down there. Okay then, so let's go and roast some coffee beans, eh? Right, well here we are. I've got it all set up outside here. This is my little shed or porch area that I enclosed. And when I was in the coffee shop, I asked for any old sacks, and they gave me some sacks. So I've made a bit of a coffee roasting booth here, you know, so that's all right. So Anyway, it does 250 grams at a time. I've got a bucket here, and while I was in the coffee shop, I got them to measure out 250 grams. So, oh, look at that. So that line there weighs 250 grams. So I'll get as close as I can for the first roast. Yeah, let's get. I'll just get a wee bit out. Yeah, that should be bang on 250 grams. So what you do, you pour them in here. Put that away. Now I just rang up John, my friend, who does roasting every week, and he sets his temperature at 240. It must be Celsius, I suppose, and he normally sets it the timer for 15 minutes. Must be 15 minutes too. But he said since it's a wee bit colder today, set it for 15.6, so let's give it slightly longer. So this is the first time for quite a while. So this is so that what happens here. This fits in here. Shut the lid and start. So we're going to start roasting the beans now. Okay, so I'll just grab the camera off Katie, my camera lady, and see what's happening now. They're turning around here and it will start to heat up. And here is the temperature gauge. It'll keep, says there's 45, 47, 50 as it's heating up all the time. And that'll bring it right up to the temperature that it needs to be. And then they'll crack. I'm quite looking forward to this. It's quite exciting. And I like the colour, I like the red. It goes really well. Anyway, it's a process. But what John does, he's got his hopper, his grinder, the hopper on his grinder, and when it gets down to like a day's beans left or 2 days beans left, he just does another roast and pours it on top. So that's what we'll be doing here. And we'll just probably might roast once a week. Well, with Katie here, you'll be roasting twice a week. Man, does she go through the coffee? Yeah. So anyway, but it's good. So I was just saying before, we've got the coffee roasting on the go, and it works out. Honestly, it works out well. I'll get 5 kgs for about 85, say $90. And if you buy a kg of beans, it's 40 or 50 bucks. So you're saving money, and you're doing your own thing, in your own time. Easy rider. Yeah. So anyway, so what I'll do, I'll just click in here with the camera when they start to cook up a bit more, and we'll just see. I can just start feeling the exhaust coming out of there now. So it's up to 124 degrees. You'll see them, they'll start to get dark, and after a while, John was just saying on the phone before the rain, I said, well, what do I do? I haven't done it for so long. He said, once you get into it, you'll know the colour, how dark they are, and when to shut it off, you know. And of course, on a hotter day, you probably won't have it on quite as long, and on a colder day you want it a bit further, a bit more of a roast. So it's all about getting it consistent. So we're going to get it really good this time round. Well, I've been going for 5 minutes, and I've shut the door, and it's the rain you're hearing on the roof is pouring down out there. But this room is starting to get quite a nice smell of coffee, roasted coffee beans, so that's really good. So here are the beans now. Oh, you might be able to tell they're just starting to darken up very slightly. It's up to 172. I suppose that's Celsius. I'm not too sure because probably an American machine, so I haven't read the manual or anything, so it's quite cool, eh? It's really, really, really good. Yeah, and these are the bags I got, you know, from all over the world here. Yeah. So this is now the coffee roasting room, so I'm pleased about that. So we'll just check in another few minutes. Yeah, well, I've just changed the setting on the machine because I did something that's a wee bit unique and uncharacteristic. I actually read the user's manual in the last 5 minutes. So I'm just going to show you what I found. This is the different roasting levels you can get and the different roasts you can get. There's 8 of them. So I've changed the settings up to 23 minutes and put the temperature on 250, and we're going to do the Italian roast, which just says there, strong and bitter but not acidic, almost black in colour, good for espresso or cappuccino. And you notice how there's all these different roasts. You can turn it down, the temperature down a bit and a bit shorter, and you end up with a different result. So I think that's very interesting. So what I'm doing is I'll start with the Italian one and see if we like that, and then we can slowly work our way through the charts, you know. But I think we'll try that one first and see how it goes. So okay, now that's another thing about getting a consistent blend. So what I'm going to do, I've just worked it out, well it's pretty obvious, is because different temperatures, if it's a cold day, if it's a hot day, it's going to take longer or take shorter to do the blend, and it's not a high-end machine. So what I thought I might do is always get it to 100 degrees before I do my roast, and then it shouldn't affect it no matter what temperature is outside. So that's what I'll just sort of came up with that one. Now this is what they look like at the moment. Now you notice they're starting to darken now, and they might start to crack soon, and we might hear the first crack. We'll just hold that, see if we can hear the crack. No, we can't hear anything yet. We'll be back in a few minutes. It's still heading up. It's 227, and then the goal is 250, but still 227. Yeah. So I think it'll get to 250 because that's what it's set for. You can see them darkening all the time. Interesting stuff. This is good. It'll certainly be nice out here in the winter, that's for sure. Just being a seat out here and shut the door, it'll be beautiful. Nice smell of coffee. Yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely. Oh, they're starting to darken up now. Should be just about the crack time. Right now it's really darkening up now because it's getting near the end of the cycle. Now I can hear them cracking in there. Yes, they are cracking. Now this is going to be a very dark roast. Well, it's the darkest one on the chart. It's the Italian, very good for espresso and cappuccinos. So what happens when it gets to the end of the cycle? It goes into the cooling cycle. Now it just made a noise there. I don't know what that was for. It might tell us that it's a minute to go. Okay, you can see the smoke coming out of the chimney there. So it's really, if you like a coffee smell, this is the place to be. Right, now what happens when it gets to the end of the cycle? It goes on to the cooling cycle, which is about to happen now. If Katie can just show you, we've got the timer, it's going down, it's down to 3, and once it hits to 0, it'll go to the cooling cycle. But the beans still cook with the start of the cooling cycle because there's so much heat in there. And notice it never got up to its 250. And here we go, it's counting down now to the cooling cycle. Here it started now. So now there's cold air being blown into the beans, and it's got to cool them down to stop them from overcooking. So the key is when you see the beans, you've got to sort of preempt the colour that you want, because they're going to get darker as the cooling cycle starts, because there's so much heat in there. So that's sort of like a trial and error thing in itself. Yeah. So anyway, so we'll just let them cool off. Now these are going to be very, very dark beans. So we're going to have some Italiano coffee. Okay. Right now it's into the cooling process, but these are going to be very, very dark beans. Well, it's the it's been 23 minutes and it's the Italian roast, so yeah, they're even getting a shine on them, so it's going to be quite interesting. And it's starting to cool down. We had to open the door, it got so hot and smoky in here, but oh, it's a really nice smell, you know. So anyway, so that'll just cool down, and then I'll just pour them into the hopper, and then we'll go in and make a coffee. Yeah. Okay, so I think it's a 10-minute cool down cycle, and you can, if you just show the temperature gauge here, see the temperature is dropping now. 156, 155, 154, because the cold air has been blowing through to cool the beans down. So yeah, it's quite an interesting process, ain't it? It's just a lot of fun, you know. Okay, so it's nearly finished, the cooling cycle. Here we go, it's 9.8, 9.9, so this is going to stop, should stop now. There you go, it's stopped, and I think it comes around to the top so you can lift it off. There you go. Well, there you go. Well, that was the coffee roasting process. Yeah, so good stuff, eh? Yeah, really good, really good. Okay, so now we're going to put these in the hopper and we're going to try a coffee, but actually supposed to wait 2 or 3 days, I think, which will happen the next time around, you know. But this is, we just ran out of coffee, so we're going to have these ones here. Okay, rightio. Well, this next section is quite funny because I came in here with the new beans because we had to tune the grinder and with the new beans because it was all out of whack, and of course we had about 5 coffees each before Katie was off a tree. By the time we actually started putting this together, and I had a lot of laughs anyway. So she's not going to sleep for about a week. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so this is part 2 now. Okay, cheers. So there are the beans in the grinder, so ready to go, and here's the machine. It's just a good domestic home coffee machine. It's certainly not high end, but it does a good job and it makes a good coffee. It's a Breville double boiler. I'm certainly happy with it. And the Breville Smart Grinder, which you can set it for a timer, and it just gives you the amount of seconds you want it to drop into the basket, so that's really good too. So the next thing is to make a coffee. So I'm going to get my daughter to come out and she's going to make us some coffee because she's the barista and she uses it more than anybody else. So, okay. I'm here with Katie, my daughter, and she's going to make the coffee because she's the one that drinks all the coffee. Yeah, and she's been a barista for quite a few years, so she knows what she's talking about. So Katie's going to make the coffee, so I'm just going to hand you over to Katie now.
I'm Katie Jane, and I'm going to show you how to make a coffee with the beans that Dad Spraggo has been roasting out in his shed. So here I've got one already ground up. The grinder's already set for 20 seconds and that does a perfect double shot. So I just did this earlier so you don't have to listen to the noise. And just bear with me, I have had a few coffees. So we're just going to try and slow things down a bit. So just giving it some pressure there, giving it a tap, and it brings up the coffee grounds that haven't quite been set. Giving it another press there, And there's a wee line in there you can't see, but after doing 400 coffees each day, you kind of get a knack for it. So I'm just giving it a flush out first to get rid of the grinds from the previous coffee, or the previous 20 coffees. Right, so I'm just going to do a standard flat white. And with the wand, with the coffee wand, I always find if I can't have my hand on the jug for more than 3 seconds, it's hot enough. A lot of people do use a temperature gauge that similar to your cooking gauge that you would check your chicken with, that just sits in the milk. But you do get a knack for it. Yeah, it's getting pretty hot now. So to make it frothier, you would do that, but we're making a flat white, so we want to keep it firm in there and nice and flat milk. That's you would have a there we go. That's not my best milk.
Just look at it.
No.
So what do you look for? You want it silky?
Well, you don't really want that too many. Yeah, the last one was better. I think that was probably when I pulled it down to make it frothy. It really gave it. It would still be okay. Probably not up to scratch for cafe though, if you were in a cafe. Yeah. I mean, it's. I'm not too impressed with that, to be honest.
So what's happening now, Katie?
Right, so now we are making a flat white. So instead of stretching the milk like we would do with a cappuccino or a latte or even a macchiato milk, we're just keeping the wand in the same position in the jug, and we can gauge the temperature by your hand, by the palm of your hand. If I can't hold the jug for more than 3 seconds, then I know the temperature's right. You do get a knack for it after making a lot of coffees after a few years. But a lot of people do use a thermometer, which it'll come up to a certain temperature. See, now it's getting quite hot. It's looking pretty good.
That looks like a nice pour. That coffee looks a really nice colour.
Yeah. Might be a bit. Alright, so this is what they call surfing the milk. Nice and silky colour. No, it's still not right.
Well, she didn't make it exactly
It's
the way she
very,
wanted.
very flat white, but you
Didn't get your design right.
couldn't quite get my.
That's okay, we can work on that. Very good, very good. Well, can you do me an espresso, please?
Yeah.
Okay. So what were you trying to do? You're trying to do a fancy fern.
Yeah, which I will do.
Yeah.
I've just had too many coffees, I think. I think I really have had too many coffees.
Yeah, we bit of trial and error here. We were trying to set the grinder right with the new beans. Yeah, we're all jumping out. Well, Katie's had about 5 coffees, and she's jumping out of the tree.
Oh! What's the time? Richie's starting to work up a sweat there. Okay. So
Okay.
Dad wants an espresso. Right. It's going. Right, here we go. I'll meet you at my level. You've got a rocket fuel ready for work.
Yeah. Don't know how I'm going to have a blog before work with all charged up all this coffee.
It's in a good gauge. It's in
Is
the
it?
lines. Oh, it's just going dropping down a wee bit now.
Oh, okay. Well,
We're giving it a fair go though today. You've been hanging in there, Breville, haven't you? There we go.
okay. So there we go.
So
There's
there's
the
our
espresso and the flat white. Okay, so well, that was a fun day. And poor Katie, she's had about 10 coffees trying to get it right, so she's not going to sleep for a week. I don't know how I'm going to have my blog before work. Yeah, so anyway, so that was a fun, and we got it worked out, and we had a lot of good laughs out here.
Yeah, it's
So
good.
yeah, so it's goodbye from Big Spraggo
And
and
little Spraggo.
yeah. Okay, cheers. See you later.
See ya.
Bye bye.
All right.